Alright, welcome back. We finished our last session talking about what makes things light, right? So once again, in Isms, we have Rafa Nasab Jar. We have we've covered this extensively. Then we talked about light and heavy. Light and wow, very bad handwriting. I don't know how to fix that. Let's try a little bit different. Let's see. Still bad, but anyways, so let's go to light and heavy, right? So we talked about how everything is heavy in those three charts that we learned. How do they look like when they're in the light form? What are the four reasons why something becomes light? And then one of the reasons was partially flexible. Now, what does that mean? Well, let's talk about what does even flexibility of isms mean anyways, right? So we know that there are words like, Muhammad. These are the names. It can be Muhammadun, it can be Muhammadan, right? It can be Muhammadin. It can also be Muhammadu, it can be Muhammada, it can be Muhammadi. You have words like Muslim. We know that they can be Muslimun, it can be Musliman, or it can be Muslimin. Or it could be Muslimu, Muslima, Muslimi, right? You get the point. Now, the next is, so these words, when it comes, these are flexible words, right? They can be flexed. They can be an, in, or they can look different when it comes to rafa nasab jar. They can get the tanween sound or not a tanween sound. Basically, they can be heavy or light, and these are fully flexible. Fully flexible. So I don't need to go in detail with what these fully flexible words are. And these are basically words. Most of the words. Most words are fully flexible, right? Start with title. Flexibility. Boom. Now, well, if most words are fully flexible, then what are non-flexible? First of all, non-flexible. Non-flexible are words. These are few words. Okay, these are words like. Let's say Musa, right? And then you have, Yahya. And then you have Huda, right? Even, let's say Hada. Right? You don't have Hada, Hadu, Hadi, right? You have Hadihi. Total different word. But the word Hada, whether it's in the state of Rafa, Nasab, or Jar, they're going to be the same. In the case of Huda, right, they're gonna look the same. Huda, Huda, Huda. There's no such thing as Hudan, Hudun, Hudin. Huda is Huda. Same thing with Musa. You're not gonna have Musa, Musu, Musi, Musan, or Musun, right? These are the non-flexible words. So then, of course, our next topic would be, all right, so we get it. Most of the words are flexible. They can be and in. They can go light and heavy. And then they're non-flexible words like Hada and Huda and Husna and Yahya and Zakaria. These are the words that just look the same regardless. They never change. Whether they're heavy or light, or whether you're calling them, right? We know one of the reasons why a word can become light is by when you call somebody. If you call Huda, it's not going to become Yahud, right? It's still going to be Yahuda. So then the next question is, well, what are partially flexibles? Because this is one of the reasons why something should be light, right? So if the word is partially flexible, by default, it must be light, because I already told you the four reasons why something should be light is if they are partially flexible. Now, we're going to cover names of places. And Arab names, non-Arab names. What do I mean by that? So if I tell you, the durood, or the sending the salam on Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we say Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin, right? We say ala Muhammadin. Why do we say Muhammadin? Because Muhammad, it should not be light, because by default everything should be heavy, and it should be rafa, but because of ala. Now what is ala again? Ala is harf jar. If you don't know what harf jar is, look at the lesson on harf jar and what it does. It's going to be ala makes Muhammad jar, so it becomes ala Muhammadin. كما صليت على على he. Now it should be, if you follow the same thing like ala Muhammadin, it should be ala Ibrahimin, but it's not. It's not like that. You know what it is. It's ala Ibrahima, right? Now the reason is because Ibrahim is one of those words, one of those names which are partially flexible. So any non-Arab name, now of course this is Quranic Arabic, but you know, when we're talking about any non-Arab names, they're going to be partially flexible. Okay, now what are, so of course it'll be easy to know, well, give me the names that are supposed to be you know, the Arab name. What are the Arab names? Okay, what are the Arab names? Because if we know those, then we will know that everything else is non-Arab names, and if it's a non-Arab name, it should be partially flexible. Okay, so one of the clue is, well, Ibrahim is definitely not an Arab name, because we said non-Arab names are partially flexible, and I already gave you an example how Ibrahim is a non-Arab name. Well, he grew up in you know, Mecca. Well, that does not make him Arab, because for whatever reason, without going into history, but the key is that he is not an Arab. Well, is Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the name Muhammad, is that an Arab name? Of course it is. Well, most of the prophets in Quran, there's only 4 prophets that are considered Arab names. Now, what are those? Salih, Hud, Shu'aib, and of course Muhammad. Alright, you can say Muhammadun, Muhammadan, Muhammadin. You can say Salihun, Salihan, Salihin. You can say Hudun, Hudan, Hudin. You can say Shu'aibun, Shu'aibu, Shu'aiba, Shu'aibin. These are fully flexible, right? Because they are Arab names. Everything else are non-Arab names, such as Ibrahim, and you're gonna have to say Ibrahim. So how are partially flexibles? Now, we already said partially flexibles are always light. Okay, so the only thing that you really got to know is, how do they look like? How do these partially flexible words look like when they are in Rafa Nasab Jar? Well, Ibrahim can be Ibrahimu, and the Nasab state is going to be Ibrahima, and the Jar state, you already know the from my example of Allahumma salli ala Muhammad, it's not Muhammad, it's not Ibrahim, Kama sallaita ala Ibrahimi or Ibrahimin, it's Ibrahima. Okay, so basically for partially flexible, this is how they look like. They are always light, and in Rafa state they are gonna get the Dhamma. In the Nasab state they are gonna get a Fatha, but in the Jar state they're not gonna get a Kasra. They're still gonna have a Fatha on top. So basically the Nasab and Jar state looks the same. So this is your lesson on partially flexible words, right? Where basically they're not heavy. They're always going to be light, and they will they look the same in Nasab and Jar state, and they're only going to have Fatha. They're not going to get a Kasra. That is flexibility of Ism. So now let's review our world of Ism real quick. Let me erase this. Okay, so review of Isms. What are the 4 things that you got to know? Number 1 is of course, and when I say Ism, I'm only talking about the status part. Status. So when it comes to the world of status, you need to know 1, the Rafa, Nasab, and Jar. Number 2, and how do you tell this, right? Then you got the light and heavy. Light and heavy, right? And then number 3 is the flexibility. You conquer these, and you have the status covered. And our next video will be looking into the world of numbers. Because remember, when the study of ism is 4 things: status, which we've already covered. Then we have number or count, and then we have gender, and then you have type. Next video we'll cover up number, and we'll see you in our next video. Thank you.